0. It was a very, very entertaining game. There was a lot of big talking points which we will get into and cover each game one by one, giving my thoughts on each team. Of course, let me know your thoughts on any of the games you want to comment on. Put them in the comments. I really do want to hear about them, but let's get into it. So we start off with Nottingham Forest 0, Spurs 2. Goals from Richarlison and Dejan Kulusevski, and it was also a red card for Yves Bissouma in the 70th minute. Okay, now we start with Nottingham Forest. Yeah, this was very disappointing. A big loss for them in terms of they're going for a real bad patch right now. I'm not entirely sure what the form is, but I'm pretty sure it's about like 6 losses in 7, something like that. And this has really piled on the pressure on Steve Cooper, who most people are calling for his head, at least in the Nottingham Forest fan base, and I think that's probably right. You look here, 1 shot on target at home, that's really not acceptable. Although having said that, a lot of that is not his fault. I thought Forest created a lot of chances in this game. They were just really wasteful, and were quite unlucky in the second goal as well. Matt Turner had an absolute disaster class for the Kulusevski goal. Not sure what he was doing there, but yeah, they're on a horrible run of form, and surely Steve Cooper is gonna lose his job now. Maybe has lost it by the time you see this. I wouldn't be surprised, but yeah, not good for Nottingham Forest at all. Especially considering for 20 minutes they were up against 10 men, and they created chances, but they never really looked like they were going to get back into that game. Spurs, though, fantastic win, a huge away victory, and the start was Dejan Kulusevski, who, as it says here, was putting in a masterclass. I thought it was really impressive, not only him scoring a goal and assist, which was fantastic, but his overall game, and what impressed me most was his ability in recent games actually to play in the number 10 role. So he started this game as number 10, looked really good there, as he did in the previous games, but Brennan Johnson got injured, so he had to go to the right, and then he looked just as good on the right, and I really liked his assist. It was a fantastic cross for the Richarlison goal, who is starting to get some goals, which is nice for him. Ben Davies, I also thought, was pretty solid, considering he's not the centre back. He put in a really good display in this game, and overall a fantastic victory at ground where a lot of teams struggle. Good for Spurs. The only blemish really is Bissouma. He seems to have a bit of a discipline problem right now. That's his second red card of the season. It was probably deserved as well as a high challenge. He's got a lot of yellows as well, so Bissouma really does need to sort out his discipline. That is a big issue, but besides that, fantastic by Spurs and a much needed victory. Okay, Chelsea 2, Sheffield United 0. For once I'm covering a Chelsea victory, feels good. Cole Palmer and Nicholas Jackson with the goals. So Chelsea, does my thoughts on this game. It was better. We got a victory. Much needed. I mean, I don't know what would have happened if we didn't win this game. It would have been carnage. But we got the job done in the end. Now, it was a bit unconvincing. The first half was really poor. We looked really nervous. It seemed like the players sort of knew that there was so much pressure that they had to win this game, and you could see that in their performance. But in the second half, things changed. We were a lot better, and a lot of that was due to this man here, Cole Palmer. He started the game in the number 10 role, and look, he's okay as a number 10, he's fine, but I think it's clear to see this season that he is far better and is a right winger, because when sensational. Got himself a goal, got an assist as well. And overall in the game he was just fantastic. Anything we did was going to come through Cole Palmer in terms of the attack. He looks fantastic, and you know, he had a bit of a dip in the last couple of games, but it's nice to see him back to his best. I thought Conor Gallagher also was kind of back to his best. Sterling did well for Palmer's goal, setting that up. Nice to see Jackson getting a goal. Armando Broja came on, and I don't know how, but missed an open goal completely. Really poor. I was really disappointed though that Christopher Nkunku, he was named on the bench but didn't come on. I always find this really weird, like, if the player is named on the bench, then they are clearly fit enough to play minutes. So I understand why, you know, Poch don't want to rush him back, but if he's not ready, then don't name him on the bench. He should have, you know, we were comfortable by the 61st minute. We were 2-0 up, it was pretty comfortable. Just chuck him on for even 5-10 minutes, just so we get a glimpse of him and get that match sharpness. I don't know why he didn't come on, but yeah, we got the job done in the end. I thought we were much better when the tempo was a bit faster. I feel like with us, we just, you know, when we're slowly building the play up, it doesn't work great, but when we just step up the gears a little, play that ball a bit quicker, which Cole Palmer's really good at, and Sterling is as well at points, that's when we are at our best. And when we did that in this game, we had moments where we did it and it paid off. So yeah, I'm just glad we got a victory, but I'm not reading too much into it. Sheffield, to be honest, it wasn't a bad performance by them. The game plan was completely correct. We've seen many teams do this to Chelsea. Nottingham Forest did it this season away at Stamford Bridge. You park the bus and try and hit them on that counter attack. You try and hold out for as long as you can. So the game plan was fine. It was just the execution just wasn't quite there. They held out until half time and were relatively unfazed as well. But then in the second half, you know, they just collapsed there with that little bit of, I guess, burst of tempo, as I was saying, up the tempo a little bit with Sterling, and caught Sheffield out. And then, you know, Sheffield, they tried, but they didn't really have anything in attack. That was the only downside I would say from Sheffield in this game. They just looked really, really flat in attack, and it didn't look like they were gonna score at all. But it's not the worst performance away from home against Chelsea, and definitely improvements from Paul Heckingbottom with Chris Wilder in charge. Manchester City 2, Crystal Palace 2. Goals from Jack Grealish, Rico Lewis, Jean-Philippe Mateta, and Michael Olise. So Man City will start with they drop points yet again at home, 2-0 up and drop points. That is really poor, and that's a couple times now. Lack of concentration, lack of focus has cost Man City. It was in the Chelsea game, they were leading 4-3, 90th minute conceded a penalty, lack of concentration there. Liverpool game, they're leading, feel fairly comfortable, goal, draw the game. This game now, 2-0 up, goes to 2-1, 90th minute conceded a pen, 2-2. I'm not sure what's going on here, but this is, you know, Man City always go through these blips in the seasons where, you know, they're early on, they're not the best, and everyone's like, oh, you know, Man City, what's going on with them? However, this year is a little bit different because we've never really seen City do this, where they are essentially bottling games and not seeing out games, which is a bit concerning if you're a City fan. I will say though, in this game they were actually pretty decent. Like, they were by far the better team, like by far. As you can see, Palace only had 2 shots on target. City deserved to win the game, but at the end of the day, you have to see out the game. It doesn't matter if you deserve to win it. The first goal was really nice as well. It was fantastic bit of play. There was 2 passes. I think it was Rodri into Foden, which was great. Foden into Grealish, and a fantastic finish. But yeah, you could also see, this is I guess a general point, but you know, KDB in this this team, without him, the creativity really lacks. And it's not like other years, because I know City, I can't remember what season it was, but Kevin De Bruyne was out for an entire season and they were perfectly fine and won the league, and many times it's been out. But this year, they don't have those players necessarily to fill in for him. In the past they would have a Riyad Mahrez, they would have a Cancelo, even a Gundogan, who would come up with these goals, come up with these bits of magic. They still have those players like Foden, like Grealish, who can produce those moments, but slowly, it's not enough really, and they only have a couple of available right now, and that's a real problem for Man City. So yeah, is this just a blip for City? Will they be back, or is there serious problems? Let me know. As for Palace though, fantastic, incredible. Palace, they're always a bit of a bogey team for Man City. I don't know what it is. It's always Palace. They always manage to get something against Man City, even when they're doing bad. And this was a much needed result, because there's a bit of pressure on Roy Hodgson. Palace have not had the best results recently and have been under a little bit of pressure, but they dug in, smash and grabbed it completely. Great composure by Lise for the penalty. Mateta had a fantastic game. And Palace in general, against these bigger sides, I think they're one of those teams where they're just so much better against those bigger sides, because they can just sit back and counter-attack them. For example, they went to Old Trafford, beat them, drew to Man City, almost got something against Liverpool. They are much better against those bigger sides and will definitely cause some problems this season, but disappointing one for Man City. Newcastle 3, Fulham 0, goal from Lewis Miley, Miguel Almiron, Dan Burn, and a red card for Raul Jimenez. Alright, so Newcastle an emphatic win, 3-0 victory, and it's a big one. They needed it. They recently have had some really bad results. I think they've had like 3 losses in a row, so to come back here with a 3-0 win, that is fantastic. Special shout out to Lewis Miley, who grabbed his first goal for Newcastle at the age of 17, I think it is. Boyhood Newcastle player. He has been fantastic since he's come into the side this year, and took his goal very nicely. And Bruno Guimaraes was absolutely fantastic in this game. His pass for the Dan Burn goal was exquisite, absolutely fantastic. He ran the show in this game. Newcastle definitely deserved the victory. Look at those stats. Newcastle, they're a bit weird. At home, they always can do this. They always have a battering in them. Like, they can just smash a team at home. Every now and then, like they've done it here to Fulham, they did it to Chelsea, Man United, all these guys. Or they can, have a really, dogged 1-0 victory against like an Arsenal at home. So, yeah, they're a real weird one. But I think Newcastle are cursed, guys. I think they are cursed. It's another injury. Fabian Schär pulled up in the 14th minute with a hamstring injury, and then Joel Linton also pulled up with an injury. To add to the growing injury list, yeah, it's not looking good for Newcastle. I really do feel for them and Eddie Howe, because it just doesn't get any better for them. But despite all those injuries, they're still picking up results, which is fantastic. Now, as for Fulham, difficult one for them. There's no shame in losing away at Newcastle, and especially considering the circumstances, this wasn't the worst thing in the world, because it was always going to be tough when you're down to 10. Now, if we talk about that red card, some people are saying it's not a red. For me, Raul Jimenez, this guy turned into Rey Mysterio. I don't know what happened. He literally flew into Sean Longstaff. He had his studs up, and then fair play to him, he quickly got rid of that, as he knew he was not going to get the ball, and basically bombed Sean Longstaff in the face. But it was completely reckless, and for me, nowhere near in control of his body, so that's why it's a red. And yeah, difficult one for Fulham. Their away form is not the best, and that something they do need to fix up, but I understand St James Park with 10 men is always going to be tough. Okay, Burnley 0, Everton 2. Also, I should probably mention the Bournemouth Luton game was abandoned after Tom Lockyer collapsed and suffered a cardiac arrest. Hopefully he is okay, and yeah, we'll see what happens with that game. I'm guessing that'll be rescheduled, but yeah. Burnley 0, Everton 2, Amadou Onana and Michael Keane with the goals. The return of Sean Dyche, and ironically Sean Dyche diced Burnley. Yeah. Now for Burnley, the first half was absolutely rubbish. I will say that. Like, the first half was abysmal from Burnley. They conceded 2 goals in the space of 6 minutes. They really couldn't create many chances. Set pieces, they were really, really bad at, and the first half was poor, and they couldn't really cope with Everton's change in system. However, in general though, after that, I didn't think they played awful. Like, the second half was much better. They created a lot of chances. They were just really, really wasteful. As you can see here, 14 shots, yet 2 of them just went on target. Yeah, another home loss for them. Not good, especially disappointing result because they conceded 2 goals from set pieces, and you know, set pieces are one of those things where if you concede a goal from a set piece, you really shouldn't be doing that. You should be prepared on set pieces to defend them, especially when you're a team in the relegation battle. That's the thing you need to sort out, but they clearly can't do it, and have been done there. But disappointing one for Burnley, who lose again at home, and yeah, I guess kind of pass on that pressure on Vincent Kompany. We'll see what happens with him, if he can turn this around. Not a good day at the office for them. As for Everton though, well, as I said, Burnley got diced. It was a classic Dyche performance. Not the best performance I've seen from Everton this season. Like, Everton have actually played some really good football this year, but this was a bit more old school just to get the victory. They changed that shape, as I said. They went to a back 5 and it worked really, really well, and they were really, really solid defensively, putting some good tackles. Godfrey putting a fantastic last ditch tackle, set pieces, both goals. It was a classic Dyche performance, and that's 4 wins in a row now for Everton, which is huge, absolutely huge for them. Full credit to Sean Dyche for turning Everton around to look a comfortable mid-table side, even with that 10-point deduction. Okay, on to Sunday's games. Arsenal 2, Brighton 0, Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz with the goals. And this was fully deserved by Arsenal. I thought in the first half they absolutely battered Brighton, and it shouldn't have been 0-0 at half time. I don't know how it wasn't 0-0. They were all over Brighton, and in that first half. And to be fair, if you want to win the league title, you need to be putting away those chances and putting those teams to the sword, because you know, if those goals don't come, 0-0 at half time, potentially maybe Brighton nick a goal at the start of the second half and this game flips on its head. So that's just one for Arsenal, I guess, to learn that when you're on top like that, you have to put those chances away, and they eventually did it, but it was in the second half. Overall though, fantastic performance in my opinion by Arsenal. You know, last season I think they got battered by Brighton 3-0 at home, so this was much better. Zinchenko I thought was really, really good. Martin Odegaard was absolutely fantastic, back to his best in this game. Kai Havertz, really, really nice for him to get back on the score sheet again. Seems like he's finally settling in at Arsenal a little bit, starting to find his feet. Got a couple goals now recently, so that's good for him. But yeah, overall, much deserved victory by Arsenal. Could have been more, should have been more really. They were in control of this game, as you can see, 26 shots, and fantastic win for them. As for Brighton though, not the best. I expected a bit more from Brighton, to be honest. As I said, Brighton have caused Arsenal a lot of problems in the past, but in this game they just couldn't do it. It was really, really lackluster performance. They did get another injury though to Joel Veltman, which is not ideal at all. But to be fair, they almost got something from this. Gross missed a absolutely massive chance at 1-0 to Arsenal, and if that goes in, that could potentially change the game, making it 1-1. But overall, to be honest, I thought they were a bit lucky. It was only 2-0. It could have been a lot more. It was quite poor performance, and I expected a lot more going forward as well. Brighton are always one of those teams where, even if they're leaky at the back, they will always be fantastic going forward and create loads of chances, but they couldn't do it. They really lacked in attack, and a lot of that was due to Arsenal's fantastic defence, but yeah, in general, I just thought Brighton not the best performance by them. Brentford 1, Villa 2. Goals from Keane Lewis-Potter, Alex Moreno, Ollie Watkins, and 2 red cards, Ben Mee and Boubacar Kamara in an absolutely mental game, as you can see here. How many cards we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 yellows, 2 red cards. Absolutely insane. One of the most fiery games you will see. Now if we start with Brentford, yeah, not the best in terms of they were 1-0 up and lost this game. However, actually I think we should probably talk about the talking points in terms of, firstly, I thought Brentford should have got a penalty. McGinn basically put Ben Mee in a bit of a headlock from a corner. I don't know how that's not a pen, but okay. Ben Mee's red for me is correct. That was a correct decision. That was a red, and after that, they just lost their heads. Only a couple minutes later, they concede, and they lost their temper, and then at the end conceded as well. So yeah, really disappointing for Brentford. I feel like they just couldn't really control those emotions and collapsed off that red card. So disappointing one of where there is no shame in losing to Villa, but yeah, Brentford aren't having the best of times right now in terms of form. Aston Villa, though, they are having the best of times. That's another victory for them. Now, firstly, Leon Bailey, what an cross for that Alex Moreno goal. It was absolutely fantastic by Leon Bailey, a great assist, and I also thought it was a fantastic effort by him to score versus Emi Martinez. I think it was from his own half. He absolutely drills it back to Emi Martinez and almost scores an own goal. That was absolutely comical. But yeah, this was a fiery game, but Villa fought back, and I'm not going to say get their goal because it was mental. I mean, players were diving all over the place. Emi Martinez and Mobe were having a go at each other. Couple scuffles. Ollie Watkins with some celebration to Brentford fans. Red card, Boubacar Kamara for grabbing someone. Yeah, it was mental. But in the end, Villa fought back and got a massive away victory. Brentford away is one of the toughest places to go. So for Villa to get that victory is huge, especially considering most people have been saying Villa are not good away from home. Well, they put a lot of doubters wrong there with a big victory. West Ham 3, Wolves 0. 2 goals from Mohamed Kudus and 1 from Jared Bowen. This was a fantastic victory for West Ham. Kudus' first goal was absolutely amazing, I thought. Fantastic finish. It was really the Kudus, Paqueta and Bowen show this game. Paqueta was man of match for me, 3 assists in this game. His assist as well to Kudus for the second goal was exquisite, absolutely fantastic pass. And Jared Bowen for the third goal, again, fantastic by him and fantastic finish. And a huge victory for West Ham. Edson Alvarez as well was really good, and these 3 plus Bowen, they are just the star guys for West Ham. They have that bit of X factor, as we saw in this game, where they can just win you games single-handedly. They are that massive for West Ham, especially considering they got smacked up by Fulham in their last Prem game. A great reaction at home versus Wolves, who are a good side. And if we speak about Wolves, though, it was a poor performance by them. They started with a back four in the first half, and it just didn't work. Defensively was so open. I said that Bekadar with pass was fantastic, but defensively from Wolves, you can't allow that much space and to get cut open that easily. They were a bit unlucky though. Sarabia put the ball in the net and was literally inches away from scoring, and I think that was at 2-0, and if that goes in 2-1, that changes the game. But then moments later they go down the other end and score, so yeah, not good for Wolves. Bad day at the office for them, but West Ham away is a tough place to go. Alright, and finally, the big game of the week. Liverpool 0, Man United 0. Diego Dalot with a red card. Now, most people were expecting a 5-0, 6-0, 4-0, 3-0 for Liverpool. Turned out it was a 0-0, and I was one of those who thought that it wasn't going to be a battering. I always think, when everyone's like, oh, it's going to be a big victory, it's never a big victory like that. And for me, the reason why was actually not necessarily because United were great, it was because Liverpool, for me, were very poor. I thought it was a real off day for Liverpool. Trent was quite poor for me. His final third delivery was really bad. His crosses were poor. Salah, for me, decision making wasn't the best by him. Again, passes were off. Núñez, for me, had a disaster class. He was really poor in this game. They really struggled to break down Man United. I thought the subs of Gomez coming on, changing the shape, Trent going into the midfield was better. It made Trent better, but that only lasted for a little while and then petered out. I thought it was really disappointing for Liverpool because, as I said, I don't think they drew this game because Man United were incredible defensively. I thought it was just because Liverpool were not really good enough. I thought if Liverpool were at their best in this game, they could have pretty easily won this game, but they just weren't. 34 shots is a bit misleading as well. Like, Liverpool were just taking a load of long shots out of nowhere and very wasteful in front of goal, but I felt like they had a couple good chances and a lot of free headers from set pieces. They were really good on set pieces, but there wasn't like loads and loads of chances for them. So yeah, not the best from Liverpool. Endo, I also thought, didn't really have a good game either. Gravenberch got injured as well, so we'll see how long that is for. That's not ideal for them, but yeah, not good for Liverpool. Definitely 2 points dropped for them. Man United though, this was a big point for them. Now look, it wasn't, as I said, the best performance, but it's a great result considering where they are. A 0-0 away at Anfield is really good after what's been a pretty bad couple of weeks for them. In terms of individual performances, Onana did his job. Varane and Shaw were immense at the back for me. I actually thought Diego Dalot was really good as well, up until the red card, which for me is nowhere near a red card. I don't know why. Give him a yellow for dissent. Now, I'm not entirely sure what was said and all of that. Maybe it was, but I always find like if a ref gives you 2 yellows straight away for dissent, like that's just like them having a bit of an ego thing where they're like, oh, you want to talk back to me, here's a red. But besides that, he was great. Evans did his job. Amrabat for me was really bad in this game. He was really poor. Garnacho was alright. Anthony really impressed me in terms of his defensive work. Tracked back so well. Kobe Mainu did well as well. Now, defensively they were really solid, Man United, but just going forward, they didn't offer anything. I mean, first half they did nothing, like literally nothing going forward. Second half was better. They had a couple of those counter attacks and a couple moments where they yeah, there we go. But let's do our worst player of the week, and VAR mess of the week before we go. Worst player of the week for me has to be Raul Jimenez. For that, Rey Mysterio, the flying bum to the head on Sean Longstaff. That was shocking and completely cost his team the game. Player of the week, I'm actually staying in that game. I'll go Lewis Miley for grabbing his first goal as a 17-year-old for Newcastle. Really nice moment for him, and he definitely deserves it. He's been great this season. And VAR mess up for me. The Dallas one is honourable mention, but as I said, I don't know entirely what was said, so I can't comment on that. I'll go for the Brentford Villa game. I'll go for the Ben Mee headlock by John McGinn. It definitely should have been a pen, and in general, the ref had zero control of this game, so a bit of a shambles by the ref all round in that game. But there we go. Those were my thoughts on this weekend's Premier League fixtures. Let me know if you agree or disagree with those thoughts. And if you have enjoyed, please leave a like. Consider subscribing. And I'll see you in another video.